Welcome to the Betting Dog's Edge Fighting Football. We are your hosts, Coy Dog and J Dog.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, how y'all doing today? We got what we're covering in this episode. Welcome to the episode. It's the first one of 2026. We got the upcoming fight night, NFL picks, and mouth-watering fight and football picks. Jay, how you doing this year, man?
Man, I'm doing great this year. Everything's starting out on a good note this year, obviously.
Nice.
Got fight nights coming up. We got football still going on,
All right.
playoffs around the mix. And I'm investing very well lately. I've been doing a lot of silver. I've been stacking up silver for years now. And now silver's on this huge run right now. So I'm just looking at a lot of my little silver plates here, and little silver coins and all kinds of things that I got.
Nice.
But I got a ton of silver. You know, that's what we do, right? You know what I mean? We do some we do some betting, and then we take that betting and turn it into investments sometimes. So, but that's what we've been doing over the years, and it's now starting to reap the benefits of silver. You know, silver went from like $20, now it's like $80.
Hey, we're in the Silver State. Why not?
Silver State, Nevada, and that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So a lot of silver, a lot of gold. You know, but I like to hold precious metals. You know what I mean? I don't like to just buy it on the stock market. Paper, right? Call that paper metals.
Okay. I like to hold stuff.
Real metals. So, been a great year, man. How about you?
Man, can't complain. Crunched some numbers yesterday on the New Year's. Fantasy football, did some work for us, and chilled out, listened to some bowl games while I did some work.
Nice.
Got upcoming stuff. The celebration of birthdays and helping out family.
Yeah, family. It's always good.
Taking 2026. I'm taking it one day at a time this year. I'm not trying to plan so much stuff out that I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah, no, I got you. Take it. That's my whole goal, is just to keep moving forward this year. And now everything is, I'm reaping benefits everywhere. Bets are still going great.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot of wins, there's a lot of losses, but the wins are better than a lot more than losses. So that's all we really care about is being more profitable,
Most
and then
definitely.
maybe getting to Thailand sooner or later this year, 2026. That's
Thailand.
our goal. Going to Thailand. We're gonna do one of these videos on the beach and see how you guys like that. But so
like, subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. You want to see us in Thailand? Support, understand, hit the bell, follow us on our socials. I would love to be in Thailand soon.
yeah, I don't think anybody cares if we're in Thailand, but when we're actually there, then they'll be like, "Oh, look, these guys know what they're doing."
Yeah,
So,
we did a little bit.
yeah, so let's get into it here a little bit, right? Let's get right into the fight game here. So move right into fight night, January 3rd, which today is January 2nd. So tomorrow night is the Serrano versus Tellez fight night card, which is main card is all women's fights on there. So I thought I'd just go through it real quick so we kind of see what's going on. So first off and foremost is the betting, right? So looking at the betting on here, FanDuel has all the bets.
Really?
They're usually all straight bets, but FanDuel has everything for the most part when it comes to this fight night, January 3rd. But Betway has a lot of the bets too. Sometimes Caesars, some of the BetMGM, but not really a lot. So FanDuel has it all. We're in Nevada. FanDuel is not allowed in Nevada. So we have to drive my happy ass over to Arizona to do these type of bets. But with that being said, in Nevada, we can bet on the Rivera fight, the Holly Holm fight, and the Serrano fight, which is the three main fights on the card. So looking into that, Serrano versus Tellez on there, this is the four main fights, and they're all women bouts. Rosado versus Walters, Bridges versus Moniz, Hahn versus Holm, and Serrano versus Tellez. Rosado we have favored, Bridges we have favored. Hahn is my underdog on this one at plus 180. And Serrano, we have to give Serrano the edge on this for favor. But I think Tellez is going to be a dog on this one. She might be something that we're not seeing. As a wild card that might actually do something in this fight. But when you start looking at photos of everything and you're looking at the matchups of things, I mean, Serrano's been doing this a long time, and you can see that the height difference, the size difference, the length of arm difference. So there's just the age difference. And Tellez is a dog.
Yeah.
So, they're both from Texas, and Tellez is she has belts too in Texas. But this is going to be a huge up for her, a huge step up in fight for her. So going to be a good fight. But as you can see, Serrano has 3 belts, and she don't mess around.
Yeah,
so,
she don't look like she play.
Yeah, and Tellez just got this fight like 2 weeks ago, so she's a wild card at this one. But you got to give the favor to Serrano on this one
The last
to win.
that last fight we watched when that person got that call on the last short notice.
Yeah.
It was a great fight, man. I mean,
Yeah, some of these wild card fights, I tell you, when you get somebody on the last minute, the person who was Serrano has been training for this Erica Cruz, and now she's got to retrain herself for Tellez. So it's a little different, but it's going to be a good fight on there. But big, huge underdog for Tellez at like plus 1,300 or something like that. It's crazy.
Ooh.
So moving into the other fight was the Han and Home fight, which is Han I have as the dog on this one. And I put a pretty big bet on her as one of our bonus bets. Well, I'll show you guys that here in a second. But I do want to show that Holly Holm and Stephanie Han. It's going to be a good fight too. Han is hungry. Holm wants to break into boxing. She's been doing a lot of different things: boxing, wrestling, MMA. Not much boxing. So, so it's going to be strength against professional experience. Han has a professional experience, and Holly Holm is just obviously tough. You know what I mean? We all know that she's tough.
Yeah,
so,
she is tough.
So she's working on her strength as opposed to the boxer boxing. So it's gonna be a good fight. I think it'll be a really good fight. And like I said, those two fights are interesting to me. And of course, the Rivera fight on top of that is going to be the other dog fight, I think, on that one. So, looking into my cards here, I showed these last video. These are all the fights for that card. Let's see. These are the parlays that I showed everybody on the last one. And of course, I went on money line, and I did Han and Tellez as a dog, 2-leg parlay, huge upside on that one, but high risk, high reward. Then I did a couple other fights. I think Serrano and Han, and I did Holmes and Tellez. I did a lot of little mixtures of 2-leg parlays on this one.
Okay.
Nothing on Rivera because there's not much upside when you start adding in these 3 legs with Rivera on there. It's either Rivera or Han or Rivera or Serrano. So the 3 legs just didn't give us anything when it came to that, unless you're just doing all dog bets.
I got you.
So then you do the mega parlays, as you can see, as I was showing you on the FanDuel. You can do these bets on FanDuel, but you can't do them on other sports books like BetMGM, Caesars, blah, blah. They only have 3 fights, which is Rivera, Han, and Stephanie.
Why don't you want all the money?
Serrano.
That's crazy to me.
But, it's just, boxing is sometimes just not enough money for the sports books to do it. So that's just mega parlays. I showed you that on the last video. I showed you this last time as well, as opposed to what's Vegas, how Vegas is putting their sports books odds out there as opposed to what I'm looking at in my model. Yes, I'm looking at the same things Vegas is, but I'm also looking at other things as well. Age, style, metrics, trends, all kinds of things in that respect.
Okay.
And then, let's see, moving into, this is the new one I fixed. It said 78% the last one. It's now 38% as opposed to 35%. So there's a 2.3 EV edge on that.
Like,
for
subscribe.
Han. Yep, like, subscribe, hit the bell, comment below. Just like it. You know what I mean? It helps us out and everything, guys. It doesn't help you. Just hit the little button. All right, so 180, right? Plus 180 for Stephanie Han is a good bet. And I put a huge bet on this in a bonus bet of 250. So 250 going to get us 450 back at plus 180. Straight bet from Stephanie Han.
That's a nice bet, man.
Yeah. So then I made this to kind of show everybody the percentages on those. So Serrano is a safe money line par at 89% to win. Han is a money line at 38% to win. And of course, I think that's Rivera on the money line for 68% to win or 69% to win. So those are the 3 straight money lines and the probabilities of them winning, right? There's always a risk of losing, but obviously you have a little bit more edge when you can actually see the probabilities of true odds on there. So value and method parlays, Serrano for KO, 74% for that. If you can find a KO for Serrano somewhere, you might want to do that because there's a big upside on that one.
Nice.
Han for decision, 38% on that. So, and then Rivera on decision, 51% on that. So this, pause it, zoom in so you guys can actually see the percentages on there. Maybe give you a little bit better probabilities when you guys are betting. Let's see. So then I have one of the cards there. Go ahead. Oh, like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that stuff. And then this is another card. This is a huge dog bet, right? Huge, long, logical, long shot on there. Stephanie Hahn and Tellez, right? $25 to make us $992 on there. So it's, plus 1,500 or something like plus 3,871 on that one.
Wow.
You know what I mean? To make it. So that's why I do it. Hey, it's a long shot. But
that's a long shot,
you
bro.
can't win if you don't play.
You're right.
So that's why I did it. But yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. When it comes to the fight game and January 3rd, Serrano versus Tellez fight. So getting right into the football
starts on Saturday, tomorrow, January 3rd, man. We have the winner go homes. We got the number 1 seed on the line. We have winner go home.
You want to go right in the seed? All right, let's go.
Yeah, let's talk about that, man, real quick. You remember we talked a couple of weeks ago, we talked on the last video when we talked about it. You had the Seahawks at number 1. I told you, hey, within 2 hours it changed to the 49ers.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, if the 49ers lose, then the Seahawks get the number 1 again. So
which one? What are we looking at here?
So we're looking at the NFC at the top here. So
there we go.
There we go. Look at the
Seahawks,
right here.
Okay.
So Seahawks jump back up to number 1 if the 49ers lose.
Okay.
They get the first round bye. And you remember we talked about that first round bye is very coveted.
Yeah, to me, I think we should probably look in for a bet on that one and see what the odds are.
I think I got you on that one already.
All right.
Coming up.
Okay, gotcha.
And so, this winner go home right now for a couple of teams. The Panthers and the Buccaneers. Right now, we're looking at the Panthers are at 71% to win this, and they got Buccaneers at 28% to win. They win the NFC South, and they go home. If the Panthers win and the Bucs go home, at the end of the day, it's win or go home time. It's time. If the things are grim, be the Grim Reaper. This is a saying from Andy Reid that's on the shirt today when he told Patrick Mahomes against Buffalo a couple of years ago before they won the first Super Bowl. At the end of the day, we got to make sure you win. Mm-hmm. And scroll on down here real quick, man, to the AFC.
Okay.
So the same rules apply. The Broncos lose, the Patriots take the number 1 seed.
Gotcha.
So that's
another nice little bet there.
That's a nice one. And then we have another game here. We got winner go home. We got the Ravens versus the Steelers.
Yep.
I got something out there for that as well. It's without DJ Metcalf, the Steelers are one-dimensional. Even though this is a divisional rivalry game and a divisional and a title game for the Ravens and the Steelers are one-dimensional now. So at the end of the day, I'm still looking at those Ravens. But if we hit those picks that we had up, that you and I did, you'll see where where I only had one change.
These picks?
No. Picks. Right there you go.
Okay.
You got to turn off. So we only had one change in our picks. After crunching numbers, everything we agreed on still stayed the same. But because because Jordan Love cleared the concussion protocol, the Packers are still not playing him in this last game. They're going to the 3rd string quarterback. So I had to make a change there.
Gotcha.
You remember we talked about it. The probabilities of win go down when you hit that 3rd string quarterback.
Huge.
So, I mean, it was like, oh my God. When I was crunching numbers, I was like, yeah, everything else that we talked about and what we have on our sheets, I mean, it literally was like the Vikings is the only thing that I had to change out of this. You see our picks, ladies and gentlemen. Pause the video, zoom in.
Yeah, I can see that Vikings highlighted here a little bit, so that's good.
That's the only one I really had to change on our picks, on what we picked. And then I did make some changes in the mouth-watering pick section as well. But if you hit us up with that bet sheet, talk about what I got out there for this. Yep. I did a 5-leg out of the mouth-watering picks with the Texans, the Bills, the Jags, the Patriots, and the Eagles at plus 191.
I see that.
Did a nice little one on that, and then I told you I got a 2-leg out there for that number 1 seed. I did the Broncos and the 49ers.
Nice.
Then I threw one out there on the 3rd leg because it gave us the better probabilities. The Rams, the Cowboys, and the Broncos. The nice. Cowboys were one of my mouth-watering picks early, but I did have to make some changes on that mouth-watering pick after crunching some numbers. But I left the Cowboys in because it still gave us a better probability to win. And then and then I'm looking at that straight money line, that dog pick of the week, because the Panthers are still plus 125 for this game tomorrow. I'm still leaning the Panthers. Baker Mayfield and the the Baker Mayfield and the Bucks are on a 4-game skid.
Nice.
You know, I don't know what they got to do to get it right, but watching that Miami game, it wasn't. They had some things right. The defense was playing good, but the offense still struggled. So I'm still picking the Panthers on the road to come in and take that win, ladies and gentlemen. And then I got that. I'm jumping into some degenerate stuff down here at the bottom. I got Matt Stafford plus 2. I got Matt Stafford plus 250 yards. Puka Nacua plus 100.
Nice.
He's been average the last 3 games over 150.
Not even no argument here. Yeah, that's why I said nice. I mean, it makes sense.
And Lamar Jackson in their and he's coming back. Lamar's back this week. He's playing the game. He held the press conference yesterday talking about he don't know where the news came from that he was quitting on the Ravens. He had a back injury. Let's see what you do when your back go out. Because after over 40, you start coughing and your back might go out. But at the end of the day, the man is back. Last time they played the Steelers, he did 43 yards plus a touchdown. He's averaging per game 8.8 yards a rush. So he was leading the Ravens in rushing. So I got a 30 yarder out there on that same game parlay for those 3. So those are our bet sheets this week. Plus 366 on that last one, man. That's a nice one.
It's a nice one.
Yeah.
Good picks too, man, for a prop bet.
Yeah,
I had 3-leg prop.
Yeah, I worked on those. I was working on those in fantasy football, and it was just like, oh my God, that's out there. And after watching Puka the last 2 years, I don't know why I wasn't putting no money on him. The dude he's a highlight reel.
Yeah.
Every catch is almost a highlight. We talked about it for Monday night. I felt that ball was a catch.
I went back and looked at it. He didn't have full possession of it, man. I'm sorry. But
man, let me push you to the ground to see if something jarred.
Momentum he would have caught it with momentum regardless, but because it showed he didn't have control of it for a split second.
A millisecond.
Hey, that's all it takes nowadays with all the cameras. That's all it takes.
Oh man! At the end of the day, that's that bounce. Your body bounces off the ground. He had the ball. The ball didn't touch the ground. To me, that's a win. So, but those were our picks, ladies and gentlemen, for football, and we've gone over our playoff predictor. We got it coming up next. We're looking at the mouth-watering picks for fight and football. So let's talk about it, Jay.
All right, let's get into here. Mouth-watering picks, huh?
Yeah, we're into it.
Right.
Got to get look at the salivation.
Got to get your mouth around it.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's see here. So going back, just basically again, underdog bet for me is Stephanie Hahn this week on the fight night, January 3rd, Serrano versus Tellez. Again, I have some other bets out there with, Hahn and Tellez on a 2-leg parlay for huge, high risk, high reward bet.
Yeah.
Then I have a straight bet with Hahn here at 450 for the mouth-watering bet on there. So that way everybody can kind of see. That's my long shot with Hahn and Tellez. And then I have my other one here, which is straight bet Stephanie Hahn against Holly Holm for 250 bonus bet.
Yeah.
So that is my mouth-watering pick of the week. I'm moving into yours.
Yes, sir. So you saw the last video. We had a bunch of stuff floating out there. We only agreed on 2 picks. I spent New Year's Day crunching numbers. You see, we agree on everything now. I had to go back and look at a couple of things, and we have the Texans, the Broncos, the Jags, the Bills, the Rams, and the Patriots. I have some other stuff. I have that bet slip out there. I'm taking the Broncos and the 49ers for a 2-leg for winning the division, for getting that first round bye. Then we got a 5-leg with our picks up here on the mouth-watering picks for us to go on that one as well. So we agree on a lot of things after I go back and recrunch numbers, after injury reports and everything.
Yeah, which is why we put these bets. You put the bets out here because we do agree on everything.
Yeah, we agree,
which makes sense.
We agree on a lot of stuff this week. It was early. Now it's in there. We got tomorrow for the game. Are you ready? Are you ready for tomorrow?
I'm ready, man. We got fight nights and we got games tomorrow. So there's fights and games. We're gonna have a great day tomorrow. Which we might want to probably go to a sports book and maybe go hang out in Vegas and do it right. You know what I mean? Start of the year, go hang out at one of the sports books like we always do.
Yeah.
But we just have to pick and choose which one we want.
You know, if you want to see your sports books, tell us. Hey, we love to be there. Want to shoot some content at your place. But you know, that's a great thing for us. I mean, get out more, show the people of Vegas. Like y'all, in my job, people ask me all the time when I talk to them, "Is it hot in Vegas?" It's December. No, it's not hot in Vegas.
Cold. Utah's right up the road. We got snow-capped mountains. It's there's not pool. It's not pool weather anymore.
It's like,
well, we do have great pool weather, but it ain't right now.
You know, you got some polar bears out there. Those are the people that like to jump in the water in negative degree weather.
Well, I mean, we even have a ski resort here, so there's really not a lot of reasons to leave Vegas, anymore.
True.
But everything costs money here.
Yeah.
So, but we'll be in the sports book and we'll show you guys what's going on in Vegas.
But yeah. So
like, subscribe, hit the bell, comment below.
Tell us where you're following from, ladies and gentlemen. If you disagree with our picks, tell us why. Understand, I can't help you if you can't tell me what's wrong. He can't help you if you can't tell us what's wrong. Like, subscribe, comment, tell us what's going on. What you feel about the video, what you want us to improve, what you don't like.
Yep.
I don't care about the negative stuff. At the end of the day, that meant you watched the video.
Yep. And that about wraps it up for this one now. Right? We're good. We'll see you on the next one.
See you on the next one, ladies and gentlemen.